So you know how in Pokemon you usually attack? Well, what if you didn't? I'm playing Pokemon Platinum without dealing any damage. Now, I can't deal direct damage, but let's leave the moves I can use up to interpretation. With these rules set out, I started my quest to figure out if this was really possible. To start out, we choose Turtwig, and because we can just lose the first rival fight, it's only a matter of using Bide until we die. Now at this point, we don't actually know any attacking moves, so my strategy to start was catching 5 Starlies. This may sound weird, but if I find wild Pokemon and growl on them until they run out of PP, I can switch out to Turtwig and just have them struggle to death. Let's call this strategy Struggle. I spent an incredibly long time on Struggle, but even after this, I was only at level 14. My goal was to learn Leech Seed, a move I can use, but I would need to be at level 29 for this. I realized it was taking way too long and decided to head to Oreo City. Yes, that's the name. I tried the gym, but understandably got nowhere. I walked around for a few hours, scouring a way to win. I had quite a few Zubats and a Budo. This let me paralyze and confuse Pokemon, but I still didn't stand a chance at the gym. But it's in this sadness that a glimmering light of hope appeared. I caught 2 Onyxes, and it's not like they can deal damage, but that's not the point. Onyx knew Screech, which would lower the opponent's defense and take much more damage from confusion. Onyx is also resistant to Rourke's Pokemon, making him a tank. Finally, believing I had a chance at this, I entered the fight with a nearly move-by-move plan on how to win. I would lead with Budo and paralyze Geodude, switch out to Onyx, lower its defense, and let Zubat confuse it for the kill. Carnodos was next, and I would let him kill Budo because of the ability Poison Point. I could switch out to Onyx and let Poison do its work. Finally, Rourke brought out his own Onyx, so after lowering its defense, I could confuse it to death and finally get the win. Next stop was Floroma Town, and heading into the fight with Mars, we were pretty under level, but that's why this strategy works so nicely. It lets us deal good damage at a low level, when grinding just takes so long. After getting through Eterna Forest, it was time for the second gym. I wasn't able to get even close with my current setup. I had to think of something new. I caught another Budo, evolved my current one into Rosalia, and picked up a Bronzong. Bronzong knew Hypnosis and Confuse Ray, making for a non-optimal but still good enough combo. I also got a Ponyta who knew Tail Whip and was resistant to Gardenia's team, basically playing the role Onyx did at the previous gym. From here, it was just Tail Whipping, paralyzing, and confusing our way to victory. I directly went on to the Team Galactic hideout, and the same Tail Whip, Paralyze, and Confuse strategy was still going strong, except I replaced Ponyta and Tail Whip with Machop and Leer. We rode down the bike path and arrived in Hearthome City. After speaking to Fantina, we entered the gym. I thought for a while and got another Bronzong. In fact, I made a whole team of them, but even with this perfectly normal strategy, it didn't work. I brought Ponyta and Rosalia back, but I still stood no chance. I needed to make a change. I needed to catch a Bidoof. Yes, the best Pokemon, aside from Slowpoke of course. You see, Normal type is immune to Ghost, and Bidoof is Normal type. The opponent is Ghost, and I think you see where I'm going with this. I took away that musty old Ponyta and entered the fight. I would lead with Rosalia, who finally knew Leech Seed. I could also poison the Duskull. From here, it's only a matter of letting Bidoof menacingly stare at Duskull for the kill. Next up is Miss Magius, and with a Leech Seed and Bidoof, she was out. Finally, Haunter is out, and though I hate to say it, I went back to my old ways. The dark times. I let it struggle to death. Shameless, I know. Immediately after this, the rival annoyed us, and I was not about to take that level of disrespect, so I destroyed his team without even attacking. But you already knew that, didn't you? It was a quick trip to Celeste town. Little did I know, this would end up being the most crucial place of the run. Everything was going great, and I was about to get to the next city, until I got myself into a double battle. You see, the opponent has Rosalia, that can heal using Leech Seed. This makes it nearly impossible to deal decent damage, considering the rest of the team is still no joke. I decided to brute force the first person's team until Rosalia was the only one left. This would keep it as a 2 against 1 for the rest of the fight. With some good confusion, Ralts came out, who quickly died to poison. Lickitung was easy, and we got the win and arrived at Billstone City. I finally had a break here. I traveled to the gym and was able to crush it on my first try. Please don't cancel me for animal abuse. I left the gym feeling proud and was pleasantly surprised by my Pokedex. I helped Dawn take care of some pesky Team Galactic members, picked up the Fly HM, and headed to Pastoria City. Before even stepping foot in the gym, I was cut short by the rival. I had nothing to do against his Monferno, so I got a Shellos and decided on a strategy. I would use Rain Dance to lower his attack, switch out to Rosalia, and poison him. I also brought Bidoof for that extra luck, you know? After this, it was only a matter of stalling until the fight was over. After solving my least favorite puzzle in all of video games, it was time for the battle. I lost pretty quickly and decided to head to the daycare to level up my Pokemon a little. I went back in, crushed Gyarados with Confuse Ray, and Floatzel fell to poison. Budget Wooper was easy and we completed the gym. It was a short trip to Celeste into the fight with Cyrus. The same Leech Seed, Confuse, and Poison strategy was still getting us wins. We We soon arrived in Connell Cave City and were faced with another rival fight. And once again, I didn't stand a chance. But it's here where I decided I needed to implement a long-term strategy. Remember when I said Celeste City would be important? Little did I know, this would end up being the most crucial place of the run. Well, I needed to catch 2 Ghastlies and evolve them into Haunter at the daycare. You see, it's here that they can learn Curse. This takes away 1/4 of the opponent's HP every turn, but it isn't an attacking move. This lets us get through the fight with a breeze and advance to the gym. The Curse strategy carried us through this gym and got us the win against Byron. We sailed to Iron Island, picked up strength, and just kind of left this person here. Sorry about that. I met up with Professor Roan and went to the 3 Lakes Rim. We saw some Team Galactic members, but they were no match for us. From here, we took a long journey to Snow Point City and arrived at the 7th gym. I didn't stand a chance against Candace and her Ice-type Pokemon, and up until here, I had no Fire-type moves. It was time to change that. If you go to the Ghost Tower at night, you can catch a Duskull who can learn Will-O-Wisp, which applies the burn status effect to other Pokemon. I caught 2 of them and was ready to head back. Sneasel was out with a Leech Seed and Confuse Ray. I poisoned Abomasnow. Frostlass killed Duskull before he could even land a Will-O-Wisp. Luckily, she died to a curse that Haunter had placed earlier. The rest of the fight was easy, so I claimed my Icicle badge and was on my way. I decided at their current level, Duskull wasn't good enough. I returned to the Team Galactic headquarters, beat up Cyrus and Saturn. I freed the 3 legendaries and headed to Mount Coronet. It took a long walk to the Spear Pillar, but it was time to go in. I solved the puzzle and was faced with a battle. I had to fight Cyrus again. I looked up his Pokemon and knew I didn't stand a chance. And as expected, I lost. I thought about a solution, but knew all I could do was grind. I was pretty underleveled, so after getting both of my Haunters to level 55, it was time to come back. But this time, I had a new trick. My Haunters learned Destiny Bond, which is basically when an opponent kills you, they die too. So if I could go first, it would be a free kill. This worked on Houndoom and Honchkrow. Weavile was faster than Haunter, so I killed with a couple Confuse Rays, which gave me a lot of time to kill my Fallen Haunters. Destiny Bond worked on Gyarados and Crobat, getting me the win. I used my Master Ball on Giratina. He didn't have any helpful moves though, but I still felt like it, not knowing that he would hard carry me through the whole game. We met up with Cynthia at Send Off Spring, and I knew what was next. Sunny Shore City. We arrived and headed to the gym. I of course lost my first attempt, but then I saw Giratina's juicy HP pool and put him on my team. I got back in, Jolteon and Luxray were out with poison, and I used Destiny Bond for Electivire and Raichu. With this win, it was time to head to the Elite Four. It was a quick trip through Victory Road and into the Pokemon League. It would be useless to try and get past even the rival fight, so I needed to develop a strategy. I decided to get a team with 4 Hunters and just beat the game by spamming Destiny Bond and Revive. It obviously didn't work due to the other Pokemon being faster and the limited PP of the move. I'm not really sure what I was thinking. I needed a strategy. This time, a good one. I kept 2 Haunters because Curse is good. Destiny Bond only had 5 PP, so I needed to be careful about how I used it. I added 2 Dusclops for their versatile moveset. They could Confuse, Curse, and Burn, so it'd be a great addition to the team. Rosalia could learn Leech Seed and Poison, and she can put opponents to sleep, so it's an obvious keeper. Lastly, I took Giratina with me. He was a huge tank, especially against Flint, the 3rd member, who uses entirely fire types, the one type that I'm completely clueless on how to beat. I spent at least 10 hours leveling everyone to 70 and accidentally reset a save state, so I did it all again, but it was fine. I went back to the Pokemon League, stocked up on heals, and a one final rival fight. Finally, I went in. This took a few tries, so I'll tell you about the winning one. I started off nicely with the first fight with Aaron. Yanmega was out with Burn and Curse from Dusclops. I would switch to Giratina to stall while status moves killed other Pokemon. Drapion was also killed with Curse by Haunter. Scizor and Heracross were out with the Burn Curse combo, and as for Vespiquen, well, she was out with Poison. With this win, I proceeded to Agatha. Whiscash was handled by Leech Seed, Gliscor and Howdon were done with Curse, and the rest of the fight was no different. Now, we were finally on to Flint. My biggest concern, aside from Cynthia, Curse took care of Houndoom and Flareon. I wasn't trying to be taking risks and all, so I just decided to Destiny Bond the rest of the fight. This was a huge sacrifice because it took my precious healing items, and Destiny Bond only had 10 total. I was on to Lucian, the final of the Elite Four. Curse took care of Mr. Mime and Espeon was done with some 3rd degree burns from Dusclops. Bronzong and Alakazam were done with Curse, and I was on to Cynthia. Well, not quite yet. You see, this required some more planning. I had saved Destiny Bonds, hoping to solo this fight with it, and I had Giratina, Revive, and just enough Revives to get through Cynthia's team. I couldn't make any mistakes. Yeah, so I just revived Dusclops instead of Giratina, but I realized that this helped me more than it hurt me. Luckily, I at least knew about this before the fight, so I got Giratina healed up. I entered the fight. Destiny Bond was working great on Spiritomb and Milotic, until Lucario was out, and I didn't know if I could outspeed him, so I switched to Dusclops. I revived both my Hunters, but that only restored half HP, so I took a risk and used a potion on Hunter too, hoping he would tank it and attack. Dusclops died and Hunter was out. He ended up outspeeding anyway, so it didn't matter. Roserade was out with Destiny Bond, but Garchomp was worrisome. I revived a Hunter, but all I had was Giratina. If I switched to Haunter, I would die before he could even land Destiny Bond. And I only had 2 revives, so I took a risk and revived Dusclops again. Giratina was killed and the Destiny Bond killed Garchomp. I was on to Togekiss. I had 1 revive and Haunter could not win this. I decided to revive Giratina and landed a curse with Dusclops before he died. From here, it was a waiting game. Would Togekiss kill me or die to curse first? Well, I lost. Kind of. I always thought that Shockwave just had a chance at paralyzing the opponent, but now, while scripting this, I realized it dealt damage. I had gotten it confused with Thunder Wave. I had the game sped up so I didn't realize, and, well, the win was fake. I didn't end up using this attack much at all, and I could have won with just some more heals, but it's still not real. I mean, I don't really know what to say. Sorry.